It's February 10th. I'm Joel D. Smith. This is 21 Next. Let's bring in Yasmine Cowan, who's working on a story about ICE and the lack of cooperation that Harrisburg may be giving them and making it formal in a new reading of some rules they're looking into. So let's start with what's the current situation. So if this is a change, and I got this printed out, I know you've been covering this today as well. If they're making this change as to how they'll deal with ICE moving forward, like you got to start with what is the current situation?
Yeah, so with Harrisburg City Council, I spoke to Lamont Jones, the vice president of the council, and he tells that a lot of people in the community are expressing their issues and their concerns about their safety here in the city. So the council is reassuring the public by saying they're going to propose a bill tonight. They're going to propose it so they can limit their involvement with someone's immigration status, and they want everything to be handled at the federal level.
Right. But what is it right now? If they're making the change, what's the current policy?
Well, the current policy for them right now is that, again, there's people that are concerned about, okay, are they not safe here locally? But right now, the police are the ones that are handling what's happening as far as on the local level.
Are they cooperating right now with ICE?
Lamont Jones couldn't confirm to me if they're cooperating right now with ICE, but he did confirm to me that there hasn't been any sighting of them here to his knowledge.
Okay, so it sounds like they're trying to make the public feel better about what they may be doing in the future. All right, so I got the list in front of me. I'm sure you do as well. Take me through what they're talking about doing in terms of a new policy.
So essentially, they want to limit their involvement with ICE officials, especially on the federal level. So essentially, let's say city employees, city officials, they can't ask anyone about their immigration status, if they're here illegally or not. They want people at the federal level to handle this because they feel that at the local level, they shouldn't be able to provide their own resources. That's for people at the federal level to do. So essentially, if there's a judge-signed warrant, or if there's a criminal investigation that's unrelated to someone's immigration status, or it's something involving at the state or federal law, that's when they will intervene.
All right, so here it is. The number one would prohibit any city employee, basically police, from inquiring or collecting information about someone's immigration status. They're probably not already doing that already, but this would formalize that. Number two, no city official should use city funding, equipment, data technology to assist in the investigation, detention, or arrest of a person solely related to the violation of federal civil immigration law. So the way you just described that, I believe, is if there's something else. So it's not like they're going to harbor a murderer. They're not going to stop someone from being arrested if they have a criminal charge. But that criminal charge can't be simply they're here illegally. Is that how you read that part?
Exactly. That is correct. And for the city council, they say, again, they're not going to ask anyone about their immigration status.
Right.
Let's say ICE needs the police's help in seeing if someone is here legally. They're not going to assist with that or holding someone without a warrant. They need a warrant, and they can't access a non-public place without a warrant as well.
Right. So that part's interesting because what immigration has said is the safest place to arrest someone is in court. So someone's in court for a traffic violation or something else, they're not running through the streets. They're not, pulling weapons. They know where they are. They're here illegally, and they have another reason that they're already in court, and they know where they're going to be there. Some cities are cooperating and saying, yes, this is where the person is. Or maybe they're already in jail, and they're saying, okay, this is where the person is. Sounds like Harrisburg saying, no, we're not going to cooperate in that scenario. One last thing on here. A person should not be detained by police or city employee based solely on the non-judicial civil immigration detainer. So once again, it's got to be more than just they're here illegally. All right, so you talked to the public about this a little bit. What was the feelings from the folks that you talked to?
Yeah, so a lot of people I spoke to in Harrisburg who are locals and live there say that, of course, what they're saying is what ICE is doing is not okay. But when I spoke to people who
What do you mean what ICE is doing is not okay? What does that mean?
Well, they say that, they can be very violent. That's what people are saying. And that when it comes to protesters, they're not respectful towards them. Now, when I spoke to other people who don't agree with that, they tell me that they want this country to be safe and that the city should work with the federal level fully, with full involvement to make sure that everyone remains safe here.
Okay, so that's the response from some people. Any politicians chiming in on this yet?
Yeah, so we did reach out to some politicians. They couldn't give their response just yet. But again, we did speak to the council. They did tell us tonight they're going to be talking about this legislation. When it will be signed, that's to be decided. But again, we know a lot of people are going to be at that meeting tonight.
So they're not saying the word sanctuary city, but basically these policies are sanctuary city policies.
Essentially,
So-
because they're limiting their cooperation with these federal agencies.
Right. But the problem with that, and this is what York has run into as well, is there's a reluctance to be so formal about this because that can jeopardize federal funding for the city, and for budgets and a number of other things, federal funding is counted upon. So is that a concern?
I think that is a concern for some people. But again, I think tonight a lot of people will hear what the council has to say, and a lot of those questions from residents here hopefully will be answered.
Senator Pittman, a Republican, did you contact him?
Yeah, I did reach out to him. He couldn't speak on camera for us, but he does feel that the city should have full involvement with federal agencies like ICE, not limited.
Did you ask him about any limitations for state funding or things like that if Harrisburg won't follow through on that?
He couldn't give me a response to that. He only gave me a specific response to what I asked.
Okay. This is the first reading, so there's a process. Do you know how many people will be there tonight? Is this actually like gaining traction from some protest groups I know are always looking for a chance to say their piece on this?
Yes, well, Lamont Jones told me that a lot of people will be here tonight. He believes that it's going to be very, very interesting. It might get heated, so we're going to wait and see how many people show up to speak and listen to what the council proposed.
All right, we're put on everybody's radar. Thank you very much, Yasmine Cowan. Now people know what folks are going to be talking about tonight. Once again, this is not a sanctuary city vote, but a lot of these policies very much sound like what sanctuary cities are doing. So is that threading the needle here where they're not labeling themselves, where they could be vulnerable to losing the federal funding? Or is this simply saying this is what our people want, our constituents, what they want to be formalized so they know where they stand when it comes to ICE, and that's what they're doing tonight. So there you have it. Tell us what you think about this, and maybe you'll see your comment on the news later on. I'm Joel D. Smith. This is 21 Next. See you next time.